Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturn Slam Review. Detailing, we got flexed into time slots. Different shit's been all over everything.
It's a weekend. It is for sure a weekend, but we're here, and we always make it at whatever time. It's like a wizard. Whenever early or late, we
Yeah.
arrive. We arrive precisely when the booze does.
and
And
what a night it was this Wednesday for professional wrestling. We had two shows running concurrently for the first time since 2011 when Impact briefly aired against Raw and got slaughtered. And then before that was 2001 on the Raw and Nitro simulcast.
yes, so now marks the great uh, brand war of the 2020s, as it will surely be known. Um,
Yeah, so we had NXT Takeover Full Sail versus the debut of AEW Dynamite. Um, and I have a lot to say about general contrasting of these two shows and the way the ratings battle played out and what I think some of these results are going to mean for NXT. So, first we'll start with the shows. Do you have a particular order you want to do these in, or?
let's go with AEW first,
All right.
because they came out of the gate. They had quite
AEW
the opening.
Dynamite. This was a show that looked major league. The production values were great, arguably better than Raw in some cases. Certainly, the camera work was better than what you typically would see on a Raw.
Yes,
Um,
the set
the set
was,
was
they had
great.
their cool tube that lifted up to let Cody in for the first match.
Yeah, the set looked nice. The lighting looked nice. Everything looked really, really crisp and really good. And yeah, as Peter alluded to, the first match, which we knew weeks in advance, was Cody with Brandy versus Sammy Guevara. This was a match that they did a lot of near falls in, which I was not expecting out of the opening match of the show. Thought this would be
Mm-hmm.
largely a tune-up for Cody. Um, but Sammy Guevara took a lot of this match, and he looked fairly impressive in the time he was in there. Cody Rhodes didn't do anything that you wouldn't expect Cody Rhodes to do in a match. So, for better or worse, it was a Cody Rhodes match,
Yep.
and
Uh,
he ended up winning with the
Grabbed him in a small
yeah he
package,
he got in the small package, right.
snagged him. Yeah, like you said, I think this was the thing on both shows. Good move, trying to avoid squash matches, because make every match a good match, at least for the first few weeks, and then you can start putting in new people,
Yeah, the thing
and then
about
then you can have the 1 minute matches.
the thing about this match is it's just, or not this match so much as the show, is that it didn't feel like the first episode of Dynamite. This felt like a show that's been on for like 14 weeks, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're in a groove now. Let's do this. Like they ran some angles, but it didn't seem like they went out and made a huge statement. Like we're here now. It's going to be so much different. Y'all ain't never seen anything like this before.
uh, which is weird because they were running more promos than NXT was.
Yeah. So
Guess they had to introduce the wrestlers. They're like, the NXT people,
I guess
maybe.
with or I'm sorry, yeah, jeez. Tony Schiavone came out to have an interview. They hugged. Then Sammy Guevara interjected himself. Looked like they was going to come to blows, but he stuck his hand out. But it turned out to be a ruse, as Chris Jericho ran down and attacked uh, Cody Rhodes from behind and beat on him. And they went to commercials. At this point, I flipped over to NXT to see Finn Balor in the ring, and I was very confused.
Which show is this? Wait a second.
And then I
Um,
flipped back. He beat him and beat him some more. Jericho stole a photographer's camera, took a few pictures of Rhodes in the ring and then of himself. And it was funny.
Jericho, outstanding heel.
Yeah, he's really settled into this role. Speaking of outstanding heels, we had MJF, who cut the only promo on the show. There were a couple of vignettes for Cody and Sammy before their match, but there were no promos on the show outside of this MJF promo where he cut it walking down to the ring, and
this was the angle that got everyone on the internet.
Yeah, the MJF
The famous
like
screw D&D players.
Dungeons and
D&D isn't
Dragons.
real. You're nerds, and everyone didn't realize that it was a wrestler doing an angle.
Yeah. Yeah, so he faced Brandon Cutler, who had a Dungeons and Dragons logo on his shirt, and Titantron. He wrestled pretty well. Looked like he may have hurt himself on a couple of bumps.
Yeah, there was some weird works going on.
Yeah, he came up limping a little bit. But MJF eventually would get the win with the Fujiwara armbar. Chris Van Vliet was out when we returned, and he was interviewing Jay and Silent Bob. So, okay. And
cameo, go sure.
Then Jack Evans and Angelico came out, and they started jawing with Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, and then Private Party came down to scare them off, but they didn't really do anything to acknowledge them. They just came down, and Angelico and Jack Evans ran away.
Yeah, Private Party. I feel like I've seen them more in the stands than I have in the ring. So they need a signature match that is Falls Count Anywhere. They can take it to their party room.
I believe that VIP room was where they were chilling, and that would come into play later in the show.
Yes.
They play a pre-recorded promo of Scorpio Sky speaking like Barack Obama with the rest of SCU in front of the White House, and they cut their general promo on how this is the worst town they've ever been in, and then they cut back to the Reno, and they have another short promo
with custom shirts, which it's an appreciated touch.
Yes. Then Tony Schiavone was doing his best Gene Okerlund impression, and then out come Phoenix and Pentagon saying they're the best team in the universe, and there's a pull apart brawl, and that's a match we're getting, I think, as part of the tag team tournament. Otherwise, it'll be a rivalry match soon, I'm sure.
The Evil Alliance, or whatever that tag team is, that I hate the one guy in there, Evil Uno.
Evil Uno, yeah.
That team got a bye.
Yeah, the Dark Brother. That's what that match was, the triple threat, I think.
Oh, okay. Right, yes. I remember. Fucking Evil Uno and their creepers.
They're creepers. I love that they're called creepers. It's my favorite part of the act. Pac defeated... It's Pac, not Pac. It's Pac. Trust me.
This is Neville, right?
Yes, this is the former Adrian Neville. It was nice to see him wrestle again. It's been a long time since I've seen him wrestle. Well, I mean, I guess technically it's the pay-per-view that I last saw him wrestle on. But on television, and this is the first time I've seen him wrestle on television in quite a while. And he and Hangman Page had a pretty good match. From my understanding, they had a better version of this match at an indie show a while ago. But it was fine. It was back and forth. Pac.
Yep.
Hit all his typical moves. He won after hitting what he has rechristened the Black Arrow to the back, and then locking in the Brutalizer submission for the victory. And now Pac has beaten Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, and he is 2-0 in the company.
Ooh. they're setting up a lot of good. Uh, I don't know. I guess it wasn't. It's not like a heel thing. Maybe. I guess it is because people really like Hangman Page is super over. Kenny Omega is super over. Um, maybe, or it's just big, strong guy
I
to
think. I
have
mean, yeah, they're trying to build him
competent
up
matches with.
as a big player. They certainly appear to have plans for him. So we'll see where this goes. This led to Riho versus Nyla Rose in the most surprising match of the night, uh, by result anyway. Dr. Britt Baker came out to um, do commentary.
Mildly enthusiastic commentary.
She did not seem overly psyched to be there.
I think she even said it at one point. She was like, "I'd rather be in the ring than on this table," and we're like, "That makes all of us." Britt Baker, no offense,
Yeah.
we all agree that you're a
Your
better
your
wrestler.
talents are in the ring, not so much at the announce desk. But Riho, who is teeny tiny, like even by the standard set by other Japanese women wrestlers, Riho is small. And they put her in there with Nyla Rose, and Nyla Rose threw her hither and yon for the most part. And then Riho got back into it at one point, hitting a giant Northern Lights suplex off the top. And she eventually came out victorious after landing another. Yeah, she hit a couple double stomps and then picked up the victory on Nyla Rose. But at one point, she was being threatened after the match where Michael Nakazawa came out to interview Riho, and then Nyla Rose attacked from behind, and Kenny Omega came down to make the save. Because reasons, I guess.
He's everyone's friend. He's the friend. He's a friend to the Japanese. Anime friends forever.
This match was the weakest on the show, in my opinion, and probably the weakest on either show outside of the like short enhancement matches on NXT. So I mean, Riho's your inaugural AEW women's champion,
Hooray.
so congrats to her. That led to the main event. It was Chris Jericho and the former LAX versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. The Bucks and Omega made their entrance first. They went to the commercial. Then the heels made their entrances, and they had a match. It did match things. It broke down. Kenny was doing his Terminator dive when my boy John Moxley came and started kicking his ass. And they ended up in the VIP room where Moxley gave him a Death Rider onto a glass table that shattered, which is a dangerous bump to be taken. I don't care how they gimmicked it. It's still...
It's actually rock candy.
Yeah. The sugar glass can still cut you something fierce, though.
They call me Sugar Glass.
So yeah, and then back in the ring, the Bucks were doing their thing, and they were setting up for a Meltzer driver when Chris Jericho came out of nowhere like a fucking cruise missile and intercepted Matt Jackson. No, Nick Jackson's the flippy one.
You almost said Mick Jagger.
With a code breaker, and then they hit the Judas effect on the other one for the pin, and they celebrated after the show. After the match, they started beating him down, and then Cody ran out to make the save, and then Sammy Guevara ran out, and then Dustin Rhodes ran out, and then making his big debut, the former Jack Swagger, one Mr. Jake Hager.
Hooray! He's here. Everybody's here.
They pushed him like a big, scary dude. He beat up all the baby faces. They tried to powerbomb Dustin through the Bell Keeper's table. That did not work. And he stood tall. So it looks like this might be the start of a new faction, or at the very least, I think they're bringing in Jake Hager to be Jericho's heavy, which I think works well for this. But yeah, they ended with a big brawl, and it was certainly a event. It was, as I said, a good show. I don't think it had the best matches of the shows tonight. I don't think it had the best angles. I think the NXT show was the better show overall. The ratings did not reflect that, but I think that this week was going to be pretty much a free win for AEW anyway, because it is the
new
new
kid
show.
on the block.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was making its debut.
Yeah. I think at least the production was well put together.
Yeah,
I'm
it
glad
definitely
they're real looking professional out here.
it looked really good, and it looked really. Part of the reason I think it won is because even though NXT was the better show content wise, from a looks perspective, if you're flipping between the two, uh, the AEW show looked far more professional. The stars looked like bigger stars because they were in front of a bigger crowd. The lighting was better. The camera work was better. It looked superior. It looked like the A show, which I hate to say this to the people of Full Sail, but your time with NXT might be numbered, because I think with this loss in the ratings, AEW did 1.4 million viewers to NXT's 891,000 viewers, which is still over 2 million people watching wrestling on a Wednesday, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. But I agree, AEW, its limitations are showing now that it has to perform at a higher level, and we've known AEW to have, not AEW, NXT and Full Sail to have some issues. I just keep thinking about to the halftime heat when
Yeah.
they had cameras that were just different cameras with different color temperature settings,
Yeah.
and you could tell which camera they were cutting to because all the colors looked different.
Yeah. So I think if this continues, I think it might already be in works, because Vince McMahon is an insane person, and they might already be booking mid-sized arenas for NXT going on tour. I think they have to take that show on the road. I think Full Sail was a fine setting when it was a 1-hour developmental brand television show, but now it's a legitimate third brand. It's got 2 hours to fill on national cable. I think it can draw an audience. You can build it up, go to big markets like New York and Chicago and Cleveland and LA, and fill the mid-sized arenas there, like you'll be able to do. And once you build some following and cachet in the television program, then you can start going to smaller markets. But I think you need to get out of Full Sail. I think you need to take the show on the road.
Yeah, or at least get to a mid-size arena and just have that be like a new home instead of a college arena.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sell out a bigger building if you run the same one repeatedly.
That is true. But for all the shortcomings of the Full Sail production, the crowd is always hot, especially now for each of these 2-hour shows, because it's going to be a new crowd every time, and it's a hot crowd every time. That's an excited to be when we started, and we started NXT this week, whichever week, the Wednesday, with Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle.
I thought this was an excellent match.
Yes. Well put together. Grappling is this one had was this one the one with a lot of sequences, right?
Yeah, there were some crazy sequences to the end where they were hitting big moves and popping back up and hitting other desperation big moves, which can sometimes, rub me a little the wrong way. But the types of moves they were hitting and the way that it flowed in sequence of the match, it didn't bother me at all. And I thought it led to some pretty incredible sequences with some very compelling near falls. And tip of the cap to Matt Riddle. He got a opportunity to be in a main event caliber match. on a show here, and he delivered.
Yep. Um, there's a lot of back and forth here, like Fisherman Buster into a midair backstabber.
Yeah, that was the coolest spot, I think, when he hit the backstabber and then out of the fireman's carry, and it was
Yeah.
it looks so awesome, and I've never seen that before. And when I've been watching wrestling 12 years, if I haven't seen it before, that's pretty high praise.
It's
Candice
fresh.
LeRae actually hit a move that I had never seen before. It was a twisting neck breaker off the top rope. I'm like, that is a very simple and
Yes.
effective maneuver that I don't think I've seen anyone do before.
Candace is surprising. Like when I started seeing her, I was like, what's she gonna bring to the table? What's she gonna bring in the ring?
Yeah.
I didn't expect anything big, but she has the ability to strike you unaware.
Yeah. She
With
had a very large following coming into it, and I hadn't seen much of her work. I know she and Joey Ryan were a tag team at one point, and that's pretty much all I knew. But yeah, the past few matches when she's gotten a chance to show her stuff, I've come away very impressed. Um, Adam
and
Cole was
she,
not impressed with the challenge of Matt Riddle.
yep,
he
he hit the or he missed the last shot, right, the first time,
yes,
and but there was a little fighting, a little. Let's see, he hit him with the elbow, right? Yeah.
he hit him with his cast. Was the storyline they were trying to sell there.
I
And
see.
then that did enough to allow him the opportunity to hit the last shot for the pin.
The second to last shot.
Yes, and out came Finn Balor, who announced that for right now Finn Balor is NXT. So it seems like Finn Balor, the longest reigning NXT champion of all time, could be looking to reclaim that title. I'm somewhat excited, but I remember Finn Balor's last run in NXT, and I remember watching a lot of his matches and being disappointed in how they came out.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. We were just like, this could have been better.
Yeah,
I do
he
remember
was
that kind
fine,
of stuff.
and it seems like somehow his quality of work has increased on the main roster. So maybe he's put something together. He's figured something out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be hopeful for the matches, but I have bittersweet memories of Finn Balor as champion, and I hope Adam Cole can hold on to that feud. Of course, there's another wild card in the mix here that we'll get to at the end of the show.
Yes. But yeah, next up we had a quick little segment with Velveteen Dream in full ascended form here, coming out,
Yes.
Super Saiyan purple.
He
Uh,
fucking the way the lighting was reflecting off his skin was like so visually interesting. It was engaging in that way.
mhm. And he just got after Roddy for same things as you do,
Things he
with
doesn't like
a
Roddy
lot
for.
more innuendo this time.
Yes.
I can take 2 minute once. And he was like, you're really riding the line here, Dream." Some of his comments.
Yeah. And they announced that next week on the show, Leo Rush will wrestle Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship.
The Drulac.
So that should be a fairly good match. That led to Io Shirai versus Mia Yim in a match that I take back what I said about Riho and Kyla Rose. I think this was the weakest match on either show.
Yeah, it's just again Mia Yim.
She was okay in here. I think she looked better than I've seen her in some of her other matches. But maybe a lot of that was Io Shirai, who worked really hard for no real reason in this match. She hit some cool moves, did some flips, hit the Tiger Feint kick, and then did her big moonsault for the pinfall. winning the match, and they cut to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are in the crowd. They had a Tegan Knox video package.
Yay, she's back, and I'm still the worry is still there.
Yeah.
All I want to do is I want to see her hit her shiniest wizard and not have her leg explode.
Yes. I want her to have a long and healthy career, but you've already torn both your ACLs.
And the first fucking match back, or the second one, we'll say the second one, because she needs the first one to be like, I'm back and this is what I do. The second one needs to be the Rhea Ripley rematch.
Yeah.
One needs to be in there. Be like unfinished business.
Perhaps for the. Although, that's kind of tough because they are sort of presenting Rhea Ripley as a babyface. Right now, I guess. I mean, she hasn't really gotten involved with anything, but she challenged Shayna Baszler, and I think after the results of this match, if they're going to take the title off of Baszler, I think Ripley's really the only realistic opponent you have left.
Yeah, the timer's counting down on Shayna.
Yeah,
It's gotta be. We say that every week, but coming, I swear.
I really thought this was going to be it tonight, but it wasn't. Her husband, Candace's husband, not Shayna's. I don't know that her to be married. Johnny Gargano wrestled Shane Thorne, who, credit where it's due, Shane Thorne looked pretty damn good in this match.
Yep.
It's not a difficult task to have a good match with Johnny Gargano, but
I mean, even the whole angle of this was, I'm ready for the big time. I'm ready to go. Put me in, coach. And if he, ups his game to match his ambitions, then sure.
Yeah, I would say he acquitted himself quite well. Gargano hit his half of meeting in the middle for a pinfall, which was an Easter egg about later in the night.
I think you all know, but we'll keep it.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone who has an interest in anyone who would be watching a show like this has seen both these shows by now.
For real.
Then the women's title match happened, and I thought this was the best match Shayna Baszler has ever had.
Yeah, it just had that energy. Because again, Candice LeRae, real good.
If she and Johnny have kids, those kids are gonna grow up to be the best fucking wrestlers ever. They need to just make sure that they invest in some sort of heightening gene therapy. Because if they have kids and they come out to be like 5'10", 6 feet tall, they're going to just be scooped up and be the biggest stars in every promotion ever.
Just move to Samoa, guys. Just move to Samoa with a bunch of kids.
There's something
take the
in
energy
the
of
water.
the islands.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
I've never seen a small Samoan, so. Yeah, but this match was crazy. LeRae hit all kinds of dives, and her Purple Rana and Baszler hit her moves and did a good job of grounding and pounding. Elaborate escapes from and locks into the Kirifuda clutch. She just looked like the most complete wrestler I've ever seen her be.
She is her best. This is her best self.
Yes. And LeRae came very close, but ultimately succumbed to the Kirifuda clutch after maybe the longest struggle in the submission hold I've seen in quite a while. I was like, is she going to tap? Is she going to get to... This is going on an awful long time for her to just tap.
And this was a much better context for it than early on in Shayna Baszler's career, where she would... there was a lot of those matches where she would just soak it in.
And the armbar. While she was doing the armbar, I recall the match against Ember Moon with the 1,000-year armbar.
Yes, where it came out and she's like, "No, we're going back in, guys. We're doing it again. I want to make this perfect."
Yeah. Oh man, but this match was excellent. It was definitely the better of the two women's title matches on the show. I think every match on NXT, well, not every match. I think AEW, the main event of AEW Dynamite and Pac and the opening match were better than a couple of these matches. But I think overall NXT had the much better match lineup, largely because of the opening match in this one.
Mm. They knew where to do it.
Yeah, to follow that up, you had Pete Dunne versus Danny Burch. This was a fun little match. The two Brits going at it, they worked pretty stiff. Dunne hit his shit. Burch got a lot of his shit in, and Dunne hit Burch with the bitter end for a pinfall victory after doing a finger break spot. And then Damian Priest attacked afterwards. So that's the next match. Let's see if old Peter Dunne hangs the first L on Mr. Priest.
Ooh. And yeah, this was also like the best out of ring, I guess, I've seen Damian Priest. This was a lot more impactful and striking of
because he
an
shot
appearance.
the arrow from further away.
Yeah, and it looked like shooting an arrow.
Yes.
It was great.
It didn't look like I'm touching the screen and
Yeah.
I think really just that gesture really set it apart from his other appearances. It was the most credible he's looked. Kathy Kelly interviewed Adam Cole, and the rest of the Undisputed Era joined in Cole, and they had a quick little pep talk before sending out Red Dragon to defend their titles against the Street Profits. And they were successful in their bid, and they had a fun match, a fine little match. The Street Profits and Undisputed Era, I don't feel have the best chemistry in the world, but they do always find a way to have entertaining matches, which I guess at the end of the day is all you can really ask for.
That's what we're here for.
And this match was no exception. They did the prototypical tag match structure. Two guys beat up one guy beats up two guys. Angelo Dawkins had a very nice hot tag on this evening, and they went back and forth, hit some big near falls, and eventually they had an overrun tonight. NXT did. They went about 11 minutes past top of the hour.
Yep.
And in the overrun period, Roderick Strong came in and distracted the Street Profits, where Red Dragon was able to hit total elimination and pick up the victory. Adam Cole came out to celebrate, and then music played, music we had not heard in quite some time, and it had a message, and that message was no one will survive. Tommaso Ciampa made his grand return to the NXT arena, and the place went fucking nuts. He stared down the title, he stared down Adam Cole, and then he left. And now we have a very interesting NXT title picture. 1 week after me saying that the NXT title picture was kind of bleak at the moment, they had fixed that in one fell swoop. You now have two legitimate top babyface kind of guys, although it's going to be interesting to see Tommaso Ciampa as a babyface.
Will we get the fucking Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, like triple threat that's been hovering?
Yeah, it's been
in the ether. The Blue Balls Championship.
Currently rests with that match. You can toss Finn Balor in there for the Fatal 4-Way. I wouldn't mind that either.
You're talking crazy. No one's ever put that much power in a ring.
No one's put that much sauce into it before. A wrestling ring can't handle that concentration of sauce. Just can't. Yeah, but that was the match we talked about, the ratings. So I am going to say that NXT was definitely the better show this week, despite the way the ratings reflected that. What did you think, Peter?
I agree. It is worth. I think we left out one important part of the ratings was the breakdown of the demographics. Was that NXT did beat out AEW, and it did very well with the older demographic.
Yes, the older demographic went there. AEW did well with men 18 to 49. which is viewed as the key demographic for a wrestling program.
Yes. So NXT is now officially the old people show, at least for now.
Old at heart, not in spirit. I think we're going to see a move forward from NXT to other arenas, and I think next week, if I have to make a prediction, I'm going to say AEW wins again, but it's much closer this time. I'm going to say 1.2 million viewers for AEW and 1.1 or 1.0 million viewers for NXT.
Okay. I'll hold you to that.
Alrighty. So we'll check back next week to see if I was right, wrong, or however it was going to work out.
Or some other.
Some combination of the two. What if they tie, Peter? Then I will be both right and wrong. I will exist in a Schrodinger's rightness state.
Schrodinger's bragging rights.
Check out not this YouTube channel, but the Saturn Studs YouTube channel on anytime really. We have a lot of stuff going up there, including to celebrate our 4th year of existence as a media collective. We are re-uploading our first Let's Play and the other early Let's Plays from this channel that you're watching currently. They're still up here, but they're going to go on to the Saturn Studs YouTube channel over the next few days. So if you have missed those, want to check out some of our other content, do that. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week, and until then, be well, stay safe. Party like it's 1995. Grapple like it's 1995. That's the one for this show.